just started the Conway Ciruicut, which is previously known as Whitsunday Great Walk. The track is very easy to follow, but it's bloody hot. Guess that's what you get for walking in the middle of the day on a 30-degree day in the tropical north. This is the Wampu Way track that you can do a return trip, but I'm gonna keep going that way. Oh my god, that was the worst filming ever. Some of those blue butterflies have just flapped straight past my face, and of course I've missed filming them, but it's been magical to experience. There are a few butterflies on the track, not just those beautiful blue ones. I think this would be a really nice track to do around Easter time. Probably quite humid as well as it is now, but around Easter in the Whitsundays in Mackay area, there's so many butterflies that come out. Just saw some, I know what you call it, segways, like a segway tour come through. I'm not sure how far they would have gone, maybe the first camp. Oh, that was so funny. Did not expect to see that. 3.5 k's to my camp. Cool. So I'm at Impulse Creek. Nice little picnic spot if you needed it. Some really nice shady spots and some rocks to plant your bum on. Another very, very dry creek bed. I'm imagining when it rains a bit that it would actually have some water come through. If you didn't want to get your shoes wet, be prepared to take them off or have wet shoes to change into so your hiking boots don't get wet. Oh my god, that breeze is amazing. Oh. Oh. And it's going as quick as it comes. So nice. It's the little things. The rustles that I hear in the leaves, and I look to see if there's a snake there. Quite often, it's just a little teeny lizard making a big ruckus in the leaves. So I guess that's kind of like a tiny snake with tiny legs. There's also, I can hear someone else in there. Hello. There's also a lizard called a legless lizard. So a lizard without legs. I don't really know why that's not just called some kind of snake. But who am I to judge anyone's identity, I guess. If you want to be a legless lizard, you're a legless lizard. Entering campsite number 1, Repulse Creek. Awesome, made it. Look forward to taking the pack off and just sitting in the shade, to be honest. Campsite out there, water tanks, and the loo. This is the wrong way that I came, and it worked, but it wasn't very practical. You need to bring your own loo paper or find an alternative. I use a cooler cloth for my number 1s. Just over 2 hours to get here. A pretty steady pace, stopping every now and then. Needed to just for the heat. The first part of this hike to get to this campsite, the terrain's easy, relatively flat, not much inclines. The Conway Ciruicut map shows you from the Airlie beach end. I walked from the Forestry Road car park to Repulse Creek camp. I was pretty lucky with the incline, it was mostly down, you can see here, to Repulse Creek. Tomorrow will be a bit more of a killer. Getting up to that campsite is a bit more uphill. Nice being the only one. Only human. Lots of creatures. I can hear them. I got a bit of water, so I'll put that through my soy mini. Even as beautiful and clear as the water looked, always better to treat it just in case. Horseflies. I've already had a couple of bites. You monster. This is a sensitive weed. He's so shy. Close him up. I am cooking my dinner. I dehydrated this my very own self. That is a lot of food. I don't know how I'm gonna eat all that.
I'm listening to what they call the dawn chorus. My hair is looking awesome. Took me a while to get to sleep. I think because it was quite warm. I just slept with my sleeping bag liner. Was sleeping on top of it for a fair while because it was so warm. Did hear a little tiny bit of like distant traffic every now and then, which is interesting. Even out here, can still hear those human sounds. It's called noise pollution. Had to hear creatures every now and then, not really too much last night. A whole lot of flies gathering around this little sucker.
So somebody's been here last night. There's been a creature, because that looks pretty fresh.
Starting the uphill to Bloodwood Camp.
This one's a bit easier to get around. A few fallen trees to just be aware of. Have to scramble over if you're mountain biking. Just be prepared that you might have to lift your bike over a couple of trees. Such a beautiful sound, water. I feel like it's the sound of life. Another campsite. This was about half an hour from my campsite. It's not on the maps or anything, so you wouldn't know it was here. No water tank. Little Repulse Creek. So I suppose that campsite's for here. There is a little bit of water down here, so if you were camping there, you would have access to water, but it depends on the season. You wouldn't want to come when it's too dry because the water's quite low. It's a lovely little spot and really nice to hear the running water. And it says on the sign that it's hard going from here, so the tyre picture. I guess they're indicating to mountain bikers. I guess for hikers it's also hard going. More fallen trees to trek over. So this would be pretty difficult, I think, for mountain biking because it looks like it's going to be awkward just for feet hiking. Overall, the track's actually quite well kept, and I've seen a few trees that have been cut that were on the path, but obviously there's been a few more that have fallen, but they're yet to cut, but that's okay. It's just part of the adventure. I need 2 hands for this. Oh my god! Oh. Stopped a couple of times just because it's so hot. A lot more shade than yesterday, but down here I'm not feeling any breeze in the trees. It's just the humidity. A little bit more uphill and then I should come to Hayward Lookout, I think it's called. This is Mount Hayward Lookout, just over 4 kilometres away from Bloodwood Camp. The ocean looks beautiful today. Just walked out of there, came to this point to get tank water, and just another marker to let you know how you're going on track. 3.5 k's to camp. The signpost for my next camp, pretty dinky little toilet. Followed the sign for the turn off to the Bloodwood camp. Gets a bit overgrown, but just keep on walking until you find camp spots. A little bit off the track this time. Tree stumps, if you want to wary about putting your fuel stove on the ground where there's so much leaf litter. I followed the path through where the campsites are and I just kept following it and found another couple of sites with food boxes, but I also just found one that's closer to the toilet and the sign for the water. The water tank for Bloodwood Camp is quite a ways away from camp if you do want to fill up. It's a bit of a walk. Ta-da! Sweet. hasn't come to my tent. I have my bag in there because it was getting covered in ants, and the boxes don't keep out the ants. But I'm not sure tents keep out these guys because I'd be able to scratch it open. Thanks for your visit. Bye. Afternoon tea break. I enjoy the view. This is the lookout from the Bloodwood Campsite. A couple of minutes down the path. Took me about 5.5 hours to do the 11.5 predominantly uphill to get to Bloodwood Camp. It took longer than planned. I stopped more than I was expecting, pretty much just to deal with the heat. This is my little time home at Bloodwood Camp. I've had ants crawling all over my things, but I'm about to go off to the water tank and fill up all my water. Dinner number 2. This is a dehydrated meal I made. I'm gonna add some taco seasoning. Garnished with salsa and ready to eat. I guess that it's dark because my hair looks crazy. Up nice and early, just packing up, getting ready for the last trek out of here. I'm heading to the water tank, a bit of downhill, but then there'll be some uphill and then a pretty steep descent into Airlie Beach. Sorry, this is not with my steady GoPro. Eating some beans while I rest at the Airlie Beach water tank, ready for the last 3.3 kilometers. Extremely hot already, so I'm glad that I left so early. Getting everything mentally ready for that last uphill and getting my shins and knees ready for the big downhill. 1% of my GoPro left. I'm going on the descent now, it seems, so I have to watch my footing because I had a slip before when I was trying to film. But very humid again already, so I'm glad that I'll be out of here pretty soon. I feel very sorry for the taxi driver that will have to take me back to my car. Just wanted to make a point that it's a bit slippery because of the dry conditions. So I imagine it's going to get a lot more slippery, that's why I thought I'd film just before it gets steeper. But the dry dirt is why it helps to have walking poles to just steady yourself as you go down. See you at the end. Got a taxi from town back to my car. Very happy to see that it's still here. It's a really good hike for the first time by yourself, so close to town, so emergency help isn't that far away. I'm using a Garmin InReach Mini so I can send messages home. 3 days, not too hectic. It's a really nice hike. I'm so glad that I've done it as my first hike by myself.